Hello, folks. Dr. Lawrence W. Moore here of the Wayfarer Project. Welcome back to Wayfarer VCV Rack Patches. This is episode 8, and in this series, I basically show you some of the VCV Rack patches that I've been making in making my music. And I'm at a phase right now where I'm basically putting together whole bunches of ideas and seeing what things I want to pursue for my next album. And I'm not even sure if the album's going to be, standard album sort of thing. It might be a large piece of material that's like 2 hours, and maybe divided up into tracks and things like that. Now that we're no longer putting music on a medium like CD, it's like a whole lot of possibilities open up for us. But in any case, I'm still working out the ideas. And one thing I've been working on earlier tonight, I thought I should make a video on this because I think people might dig some of the things I've tried here, or maybe see a different combination of modules doing some different things than I've been doing. And so I thought it might be a good thing to look at for some folks. Overall, basically what I was working on is something that's somewhat auto-generative, more like something that is somewhat of a sequence, as well as maybe some segments of ideas that are not necessarily in a sequencer, and basically having those things to be able to do a live mix of, where basically if I'm doing a recording, I do it in real time, basically record what I'm doing, and it'd be almost like recording a performance. Mixing can be a performance in and of itself, especially for like DJs and so forth. But even in the experimental world, a lot of times I'll perform my mixes live, sometimes perform on the old analog synths live and stuff like that too, and the mixing board at the same time. And actually, been doing a little bit of that in VCV Rack, so I thought I'd share it with you. Let's see. Well, yeah, I was going to mention something else. The overall meaning is to be auto-generative and be suitable for mixing on the fly, whether it be live or in the studio. In my sound experiments for relaxation, meditation, and sleep, I'm basically there, whether it's an hour-long session or a 2-hour-long session, I'm there the whole time, like, mixing in VCV Rack and changing the aux sends or this or that, in order to create a realistic experience. So I'm there throughout that meditative experience with you, when I'm recording it, because I'm recording myself actually doing it on the fly. And I think that also puts a lot of energy into music. So before I get on to things, I just want to also recommend an artist. I do that from time to time in my different series. And a new artist that I've come across, a young and upcoming artist by the name of Senor Maron. I have the link down in the description, and I recommend people check this artist out. Some good old 90s nostalgia there, and some of what I'll be doing tonight actually makes me nostalgic for the 90s and stuff. Slightly different genre. This stuff sounds a little bit more like kind of like Orb or Future Sound of London, that sort of thing, although I'm not using samplers. They used hardware samplers, external samplers, to drive things at that time. And I'm using a digital synthesizer software, so it's different, but it was kind of like some of the moments I made were kind of reminding me of that stuff. But anyway, please check out the Senor Maron in the description. All right, so without further ado, we're going to roll the theme, and then I'm going to show you an example of what I made. Okay, so here we are with the patch, and at first here what I'm going to do is kind of demo it, and then in the second half of the video I'm going to build with you basically this section. This is mostly what you're hearing. This level here is the mixer. In episode 1 of this series I do describe my mixer setups. The modules that I use, mostly the Mind Meld 8-channel or 16-channel mixer, aux extension. I like to use the Surge XT effects on this because they are free downloads, and they are very good too. And in this case, I do have a reverb here, an mscHack compressor on the out. Master out goes into this, and then out to the audio out for VCV rack. And then, of course, here's the parametric EQ extension of the mixer and 2 compressor modules. They're the same module each from Squinky Labs. Basically, each channel on the mixer here can be compressed, equalized with the parametric EQ, and then also the 2 groups. The 16-channel version has 4, but there's 2 subgroups here and 4 auxes that I can also then compress with this compressor here. So basically the Squinky Labs compressors work in line with this mixer very well, and if you want more details on it, that's episode 1 of this series. Okay, so now let me just kind of demo the patch for you. I'm just going to, I have a keyboard controller that does have 8 knobs on it and 9 sliders. It's a Launch Key Mark III Novation. And it would be awesome to kind of like have mapped these to the controllers on that. But since you can't even see that anyway while I'm on screen here, I'm not going to do that. But basically in VCV Rack, you can have controller inputs come in. So you could use a keyboard controller to do all this from a physical controller, whether it be a keyboard or not, as long as it's got knobs and faders and sends on MIDI continuous controller channels, or not channels, but basically the 0 through 127 continuous controller numbers. Basically, you can, do a live mix that way. All right, so here we go. Okay, this is not a performance of that. There you go. There's an idea of something that, can be done. And basically, I know that this is not an episode that's going to go over like the whole concept of, live mixable music and any of that sort of thing. Just came up with an idea and wanted to just show people that idea, and it might help with the inspiration and so forth. So what I'm going to do is start with a new just mixer section, and then I'll put it together again. It probably won't sound exactly the same, but it could sound very similar, and I'll go over like basically the approaches that I've used and what you can do with them, and show you all the different avenues that you can go down to kind of go a little different direction and so forth here and there, all just to get the creative juices flowing. All right, so here we go. Got our mixer, parametric EQ, compressors on all channels, including the groups and auxes. Same thing with the parametric EQ, and an aux send area that's going out to just one effect right now, this reverb from Surge XT, and I believe it's on my favorite effect. Now that's echo. Yeah, I've been using that a lot for the ambient sort of things in my sound experiments for relaxation, meditation, and sleep. So anyway, we're going to start off with some modules from SV Modular. These are all free modules, and in fact, they're just from the section on drums and the sequencer. There's one called Gnome that is a clock that we will use as a clock source, and we'll give it some beats per minute and stuff in a minute. I'm going to get the sequencer from SV Modular. It's a trigger sequencer, but it's just so simple, straightforward, and has a nice sleek GUI, capable of storing, I believe it's 8 different patterns, and then you can sequence them in any order that you want. But let me double check that for you real quick here. Is it 8? Oh no, you could store 16 in there, but you have 8 slots where you can put any of those 16. And you could even click in and out different patterns on the fly here. And these even take CV ins if you want to have some other source triggering these. Basically, I guess it would be sending a number between 1 and 16 in some form or fashion. The manual for this would tell you like what the CV range is for that. And some copy and paste buttons. So it's really convenient to use. I mean, it labels these tracks here, but you can use them any way you want. And the common usage is to use it under such a beat division that this is beat 1, 2, 3, 4 of a measure, 4/4 time, and these are 4 divisions of the beat. Basically, each square is a 16th note. And what I'm going to do next is set up a bass drum, and this is also from SV Modular. Now, SV Modular has a couple of different bass drum modules. My favorite is the marionette bass. They have one that's simply called Bass Drum 9, I guess, like a Roland 909 type of drum module. There's something called synthesized drums, which all these are, but that one is, I guess, specifically trying to do some synthesized drums. And then there's a couple of kit modules that have bass drums in them, like a DMX kit module and a CM78 kit module. But the marionette bass here is one that I like the most. And what we'll do is hook up the gate output from here to gate input here. And now I'll hook up the audio out, but let's turn down the fader first. Well, nothing would happen here because there's nothing triggering the gate to play notes, but I always like to be safe rather than sorry, because I encourage people to listen to the series on headphones, because some of the sound is subtle sometimes, and that's why I also then like to be very careful with the ears. So people can do that, or definitely try to use your best kind of speakers that you can if you're using speakers. Okay, and then here I use purple for my clock signal, so let's do that. So now this is being clocked to 115, and the way this sequencer works, if you want things to be 115 beats per minute, you want to come out the 16th note slot, because it seems to read it as, how many of these, the pulse for these slices. And if you want these to be 16th notes, each of these 16 squares, then you got to hook it up to this. So otherwise it'll be half speed or quarter speed, depending on what you hook up. Oh, let me see. I don't know what speed I want. Let's try 140. And I'll put in some drum markings here for the bass drum. Okay. And the correct gate is hooked up to here. The audio out is going into a channel I turned down for safety reasons. Now, a lot of times on this marionette bass sound, I like to kind of change the wave to get more of like a realistic kit. But in this case, for this kind of stuff, you get a buzzier, like sawtooth wave the more you turn it to the left, and then less of that as you turn it towards the right. I'll keep it in the middle right now, a good balance between the buzz and the oomph of the kit. And then there's a mix where you can mix those two different parts. Maybe if I change that mix, I could turn this up. It's really about the same thing as I had before. And then you have controls over the decay of it and release, which is kind of interesting. And sustain, I guess it's basically like an ADSR without the A. So the attack is going to be pretty quick no matter what. And then there's a decay from that point of emphasis, the sustain level in comparison to the peak after the attack, and then a release. And there's basically those controls on either side. This, for example, if we extend the release, we're not hearing much of anything over there. Let's see. Basically, I had at one point determined that one was the buzzy side and the other was not. And right now, it's eluding me as to which is which. But the tune works very well, and we are going to be putting that to use. And let's see, we have a blend here. I'll put it right there, because here, well, actually that might be good for this sound. Okay, let's leave that in, and then what we're going to add above this, just to kind of give us some more flexibility from the bass drum here, I'm going to add a segment sequencer from mscHack. This is basically like a 9-in-1 segment sequencer, where you have these nodes that you can move around, and you have a vertical range here that could be set to any of these parameters down here. 0 to 5 volts, -5 up to 5 volts, 0 to 10 volts, -10 up to 10 volts. So depending on what the range is of a certain module that you're using, this can give you a clock-driven left to right playing segment generator for what you're doing. So I'm going to hook up its clock here to our clock down here. Now I'm going to hook it up to quarter note of the beat, which I believe half here's quarter note. Now we'll see how well that lines up with its own divider right here, because it does have its own ability to change in division. Now as I see this fly across the screen, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it looks like it really is doing quarter notes. And that would be quarter notes from the perspective of this grid here, so that's good. But if you ever need to adjust that, you can just do a little math and adjust the time division right here. Now the time division and the voltage range varies based on, well, it doesn't vary. I mean, you could set it individually for any of the 9 segments that you do. And we're going to do one now that'll be saved under, 1, or pattern 1, shall we say. And what we'll do is take the output for 1, right here, and we'll hook it up to pitch down here, or tune. All right, there we go. Now I'm going to put it in the range of -5 to 5 volts. And when I was playing with it before, it seemed to be mostly useful within 1 or 2 volts of 0, positive or negative. Let's put it down to. And then put it up to here or something like that. Let's play around with this a bit. Let's see, this is like 1, 2, 3, 4 segments. 1, 2, 3. Something like that. So they're similar. They're not exactly the same, but now let's slow this beat division down. Because it was actually set on 16th or 64th up there. Now you see that it's set to 8th here. It's certainly not in an 8th note relationship. Yeah, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to clear it. Or actually, maybe one of these will be cool. Now, when it gets too low, it seems to crap out a bit here, so why don't we do this? That's pretty cool. So I'm going to go with that. Now let's look at its dynamic range. If you look at an EQ as well as here. But this would be the normalized input before it gets to the fader. I might want to balance this out across the spectrum, so I could turn on channel 1 compressor. Turn down the threshold and then turn up the output gain. Yeah, now the higher frequencies and the buzziness of the sound is speaking better. And we still have this fader down at negative 12 dB. So, as it rises in pitch and falls in pitch, it's still in a consistent area of dynamic range. So that's pretty good. Alright, so now let's add, well, let's see how this will sound in the effect. May not even put it in the effect. We'll see. But anyway, let's play around with the snare drum. Just type in snare and the SV Modular snare is there. Let's turn this down just a little bit since we're not working with that right now. And take our snare, hook it up, turn down the fader here. Well, keep it down until, yeah. Let's see, I don't know. Let's try that. See how that sounds. Let's do this. Now let's try selecting our snare sound here. The select switch does that. Now I'm going to play with the snares pitch selection 2 here with the tune. And that's going to hook up to channel, well, yeah, pattern 2 over here. See what happens when we go to 2. Now you'll see it's flying by real fast again on bar. The beat division stuff sometimes just takes a little poking around to change it to what you really want. It seems to be staying the same here and then only changes down here. Let me make sure we're on. Oh wow, that changed it a lot. See, it did have negative 5 volt to 5 volt highlighted. Sometimes I've noticed in this patch that when you go from one pattern to the next, there's a little bit of a bug that it will show what the things are from the previous pattern displayed sometimes, and you got to reset them for the next pattern, and then once you have them set, it'll keep them. But sometimes you just got to make sure you set the time division and the CB range. Let's try 0 to 1 volt. Yeah, there's still only one change down here. Let's see if another drum. Let's try doing the select knob. I kind of like that. It's not giving me a great range here. I kind of like that. Now these drums are varying in amplitude, so I'm going to compress them a bit. And let's view them over here, channel 2. Okay. All right, I'm going to keep this low for now. I'm not going to turn those up until we start feeling more ready for musicating. Let's see right now. Yeah, that'll give me okay, I'm going to mute these. All right, let's mute these and turn this fader down for safety's sake and bring in the hats. And SV Modular does have both a closed and open hi-hat. Oh, weird. Okay. Let me just type hi-hat. There we go. There's both of them right there. I do have the drum modules from VCV, from the drum module bundle that you can get with buying VCV Rack Pro, and they're great. I just, in this series, I try to focus on those modules that anyone can use, so anyone can be doing this right now, because VCV Rack is for Windows, Mac, and Linux. Now, let's do the closed one first. Now, these modules are doubles, where you could have two hi-hats in one. Typically, you're only using one, though, but you might want to use multiple ones, and so you could have one module there, producing two different sounds. But their sequencer only has one lane for each, but you don't have to put in Like these lanes don't have to be hooked up to what their name says it is. It has nothing to do with it. Okay. We're down there. Let's put in a line. I'm just going to do straight eighths. Okay. Now, is there anything funky we want to do with it? I did before in the previous example. I don't know if this is going to be the hi-hat that we'll use on the select switch either. We'll have to see. Let's try another interesting shape. Now, that's a real slow change when you put on one bar. But once again, the tuning area only really does anything when it gets to a low value. So let's put it on select. No, I think I'll just put it on the tune because you know what? I want this to just be not a very constantly changing thing. Okay, let's hear it. Let's turn down these, unmute them, and see how they fit with this. I don't think I'll need to compress this because before I was compressing to try and balance frequencies that are part of the same sound. Maybe I could use a little bit here, we'll see. Maybe just to keep its gain in line with the other parts of the kit, since I have them. Yeah, it does beef it up a bit more. This one I think needs to be normalized. I'll mix everything else around it. Now these, when live mixing, these can be part of the mix. Now we have the kick. Actually, that sounds too much like a glitch on the snare. The select being changed. Oh yeah. Go back to 2, that's a snare. No. Yeah, it's better. I was initially excited about that other sound, but not really over time. Now I am going to put these on a group 1 for the drums, and also so I can take all of these and mute them all except for the effects, in case that should be useful at all. Let's pan these a little bit here. But this also means I can fade them in and out of their ambience. That's all of them together. Of course, I could do one at a time. And as you build things this way, you notice neat sounds here and there that you could do different things with. All right, let's do the open hi-hat. And now, if you want to be more realistic, you want to match that with your closed hi-hat. Wrong out. Well, that wasn't an out. There we go. Let's turn these down a little bit. Oh, I errantly dragged the module over. There we go. All right, let's just hear our closed hi-hat when it comes up. And it's hooked up, so all we need to do is, you know what, I'm going to have the hi-hat only come in now and then. How about here? And then I'm going to copy this out because I'm going to be adding toms soon. So let's copy this and stop the sequence so it doesn't skip ahead on us while we're trying to paste. So go to sequence 2. Paste, and on this one I'll have the closed hi-hat with the open hi-hat with 2 taps at the end instead. Okay, so we can start it up, and we just need to raise the fader on the hi-hat, the open hi-hat. Pan it in the same area as the closed. Now let's see, do we want to match them up? Oh, we need to put sequence 2 here so that it will follow 1 measure of each. No, it's not going to match. I guess I could try to make it match, but I'm not going to. I just want a sound that says something to me. that one. Now this one I do want at Unity. We also need to give it a send. All right. Yeah. Now what we can do with 4, that's the closed hi-hat. Let's put this on sine wave, and let's put it on a slow, fairly slow rotation, and hook this up to the pan input on the sine wave. I mean on the open hi-hat pan. So I need to initialize this and change its range to -10 to -10. Now it's panning. I think that would work on -5 to 5 as well. It looked like it was set to that, but remember sometimes it's when you start a new pattern it may not be set. Yeah, that's going full left and right. There we go. Yeah, you always got to reset these for each pattern you make, no matter what it looks like it's on. And what I'm thinking, I might use some more of these for panning. Like 5, maybe have it be that cosine wave. Oh no, I just messed up this one. There we go. There we go. Let's go to pattern 5. And let's put a cosine wave. -5 to 5. 1 bar. And we'll have this one be on that. And then I'm going to make its friend, the closed hi-hat, pan. Let's have it not go in time with the other one. There we go. Maybe a little bit too much high coming in here. There we go. pretty cool. Now let's have some toms. I'm going to hook its gate up. Green for gate. Alright, I gotta make sure I don't talk too loud while I'm recording this. I'm listening to this stuff and I'm trying to speak above it in my mind, but that means I'll be speaking too loud into the mic. So anyway, sorry if that's been the case thus far. I'm hooking up the next two gates in audio. Now we're clipping already. There we go, that's better. Now the toms are hooked up. Let me turn them down a little bit. Or all the way, really. And then what I want to do here is stop the sequence for a moment. Now what we're going to do is copy. Yeah, this is pattern 2. And I'm going to put out pattern 3 here, and pattern 3 is going to be pattern 2 plus some toms. There we go. And I'm going to copy this out and make a pattern 4, but this is going to have a longer fill. And here I'll have the no, let's do this like this. All right, and then you like that. See how that works. Now let's put them in here. It's going to go back to pattern 1 here, and then it'll go to pattern 3, pattern 1, pattern 2, pattern 1, and then pattern 4. There we go. Let's see how that sounds. Oh, undo. There we go. I accidentally hit the backspace key. Now we're not going to hear those toms because they're turned down. I usually find that the toms tend to be quiet on the SV Modular toms. Yeah, like you hear that? Yeah, you probably didn't. Here we go. Yeah, and plus I'm going to have to do compression on them that's similar to what we've been doing. Oh, and plus, by the way, I didn't do 4. Let's do 4. So I'm going to do this and then the toms. Now they're both on the same pitch right now, so I might want to fix that. Okay, let's switch these, because I have actually sequenced them. There we go. There we go. Go to channel 5. And boost it up. There we go. There we go. They sound pretty even with each other. Now what I'm going to do, let's just pull everything down. Because I'm going to unsolo these, and then we want to hear them build it on itself here. Let's do this. These get to be at unity. All right. Now these guys are not going to the reverb, so let's do that. Alright, so what we're going to do next is add a little bit of chanting and droning. Our good old friend, the Audible Instruments Macro Oscillator. I'm going to put it on its formants generators. One of them named Vowel. The other one named Vossum. Now what I'm going to do is just turn these down low, but I am going to hear them. Since these are going to drone for a little bit, now you could use a pitch sequencer or something like that as well. Alright, now we are on channels 7 and 8 with these sounds, but I think I'm going to use 6 to do a little pitch control on it. That's why I turned it down, because it's going to sound bad for a little bit. Now I got to make sure it's on -5 to 5. Yep, you see? You got to click it, otherwise it doesn't know. They get slower. About just 0 to 1. Yeah, that'll probably be better. What? Hold on here. Zero to 1 shouldn't be moving that far. Maybe we'll put it on frequency modulation and bend it here, so that way we could choose our fundamental, and then there we go. We're not done yet. We're going to have this control go on the same, well, a different sequence. How about this time I do it with the cosine? And make sure it's 1 bar this time. You see, I click it to the same setting. It doesn't change, but it actually changes here. So you gotta set that. And I'm going to have to then tell it to make its modulation range Now these guys are going to be on group 2. I made this one into a sirens. Different than the other patch I made. And then I'm going to send the whole group. Group 2. Yeah. We have achieved craziness. And this one's going to be a drone. So let's turn it down first though. which ones are the panners? I think it's 5 and 6. No, 4 and 5. So now, if you want to be able to do some of that live, you would not hook them up to the pan, and you would just do the live mixing of that. Oh, we're clipping. There we go. Now what I can do is compress those so that they have a more narrow range dynamically. Alright, and then after you kind of get a sense, whoa, that one just, I just compressed that. Yeah, looks like that could use a lot more compression. So the drone and what comes out of it are closer together and level. There we go. Now these two are grouped. So I can set them a little lower. There we go. And they could kind of be like brought in and of themselves. Or actually what I would probably do, pull that down. Pull these down. Set mute these. Alright, and so now, the heck, I thought this, oh, yeah. Alright, good. So, now, the way you can work with something like this, establish what things you want to fade in and what things can be kind of like brought in with mutes. That sort of thing. Since they're short, you can do little entrances like that with these things. But this one has to fade in. And then you have your guys over here where I can fade in the drone. Okay, something completely different than what I made before, but equally as pleasurable. So, here we go. Ready to launch. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the time spent here. Hopefully you learned something, or at least heard some cool sounds. Until next time, hit the like button, and leave a comment and all that stuff that I forgot to say earlier. And but until next time, take care. And I don't know what else to say. Stay freaked up, man. Stay freaked up.